All right, Zulma Gonzalez, this mic is all yours. You are muted.
A thankful Thursday to each and every one. I was muted. I like you. I like being muted sometimes. Sometimes you just need to be quiet. It's the best. Morning, Dove. Morning, Lori. Good morning, Mickey. Good morning, Michaela. Mickey, Sharon, Cora, Lynn. Everybody in the room. Thank you so much for being here. And for anybody listening online in the Pal Talk room, streaming, whatever. Good morning. A thankful Thursday to you all. The new term is a grand rising to you. A grand rising. The term good morning is starting to disappear slowly but surely because uh, they have equated the word morning being synonymous with the word morning, morning, being synonymous with mourning. For some reason or another, somewhere along the way decided that a grand rising it had more oomph to it, and it does, if you think about it. But traditionally we say good morning. Traditionally, I say a thankful Thursday to everyone, um, and only on Thursdays. So here we are. Well, all right. A grand rising to you, right? No, oh, really, that's right. Well, actually, and this year, the Centers for Spiritual Living is using that as their theme, and I'd heard it years ago, years and years and years ago. Um, and hey, Glorian, Glorian's here. Hi, Glorian. Um, I had heard that term years and years ago, and I hadn't taken it on, and now it's I'm hearing it everywhere. So, and again, the it's the theme this year for Centers for Spiritual Living, from good to grand to great, is what we're talking about. From good to grand to great, realizing our greatness. All right, Dove, I love you. Take care. Um, yeah. So. Let us get started. Oh, no, my slides aren't ready yet. Let me get started here as best I can. All right. Um, Go back to Zoom and then share. This is they need. I want another way. I'm thinking they should do this different. They should hear me shoulding first thing in the morning. Me, who talks about not shoulding all the time. I'm talking about what they should do. They should do this differently. All right, we're doing A Course in Miracles meet Science of Mind, the science of mind, and not just science of mind, but mental sciences, other mental sciences, because as we know, these are courses in mind training. We'll talk about that in a moment. Right now, as a matter of fact, um, we are reminded always. This should be in slideshow mode. Let's do this right. We are reminded to mind our mind. Dr. Ernest Holmes teaches us that to learn how to think is to learn how to live, from the Science of Mind textbook, the definitive edition. It's a great big book that I thought I had in front of me, but I do not. Don't need it. It's okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. Science of Mind, the definitive edition. And it has to be the definitive edition because the 1938 edition. Initially, he wrote it first in 1926, 26 or 27, 26, 1926, and then revised it. And I mean, revised it and improved it. Most of what a lot of what's in the first edition is included in the second edition, and it has become the textbook for uh, students and teachers of religious science, otherwise known as the science of mind. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. The course reminds us that this is a course in mind training, that all learning involves attention and study at some level, because an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And Dr. Holmes reminds us that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. And he's not the only one. Joe Goldsmith, Neville Goddard, Daniel Lee Morgan, Emmett Fox, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Mary Baker Eddy, Charles Fillmore, they um, all of this belief that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Since it is impossible to stop thinking, we cannot stop creating. Our choice is always whether we shall create constructively or destructively. Hi, Carrie, the course, and Regis. Good morning, both of you. What this quote is calling creating constructively is what we call, rather, what this quote is calling creating destructively, we call what's made. Anything made is destructive because it is perishable. So to reword our choice is whether we shall create constructively or make destructively. And therefore, the course reminds us that all thinking produces form at some level. And oops, too soon. Too soon. Yeah, okay, all right. How about this? Power quote. It's still too soon. That's okay. Power quote from Neville Goddard today. Neville Goddard was born February 19th, 1905, made his transition October 1st, 1972. He was from Barbados, which I found interesting when I learned that later on. But anyway, Neville Goddard is not one of those quote, quote, law of attraction mental scientists. He's into the law of assumption. And if you want to know what that means, you'll have to look it up. One of his most famous one of the works that he's most known for is Feeling is the Secret. And we talk about that all the time. We talk about the importance of, it's not enough to just, say, oh, I think I'm going to do such and such. You have to attach some feeling and some conviction to it and know that it's possible before we can do that. And it doesn't matter whether if we're talking about manifesting $1 million or just making a change in the way we think. We have to believe it's possible. We have to have conviction with it. So anyway, he's not talking law of attraction. He's talking law of assumption. Feeling is the secret. I have it as a PDF. If anyone is interested, let me know. Give me your email address if I don't already have it, and I'll see to it that you get it. Anyway, quote from Neville Goddard today. Stop trying to change the world, since it is only the mirror. Sound familiar, family? Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Leave my typo. Sorry. Let me fix this right now. Let me fix this right now. And all right, here we go. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself. The reflections then will be satisfactory. And the course backs that up with, there is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here, you are changing the cause. The effect will change automatically. And that's from workbook lesson 23. And by the way, if anyone is interested anywhere along the way, has any thoughts, ideas, any opinions, suggestions, anything, and you want to raise your hand, and please let's make this a discussion and not a monologue on my part. Thank you. I have another quote from Neville Goddard. If a man looks upon any other man and estimates that man as less than himself, the man is stealing from the other. He is stealing the other's birthright, that of equality. We know where this is going. You who are from the course, you who are not at war must look for brothers and recognize all whom you see as brothers, because only equals are at peace. God's equal sons cannot compete. Yet, if they perceive any of their brothers as anything other than their perfect equals, the idea of competition has entered their mind. And as it says in the first quote, basically we're stealing. We are stealing. We are hurting ourselves with our thoughts, creating pain for ourselves because we're thinking that if I'm thinking that I'm better than you, then somewhere along the way I have to think that somebody's better than me. Oh, all right. If I think that I am less than you, well, already I'm not giving myself credit. I'm not looking at myself, seeing myself through God's eyes. I am attempting to do the self-esteem thing. And that gets me nowhere because what I'm trying to esteem is the body, the tangible. Oh, I'm worth more because I own more stuff. No. Oh, absolutely not in my case. That is not the case. All right. And quote that I found a bit back from Egyptian proverb that ended up in the Bible. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. All right. Now let's get into it. We're going to do a recap of Monday. We were talking about the book by Dennis Merritt Jones, When Fear Speaks, Listen. He talked about the 7 primary messages of fear. He said there's anger, worry, judgment, selfishness, shame, loneliness, and uncertainty. Now, and I'm going to put shame at the shame. Let's put shame at the bottom because it's the of all of these, it's the one that, as far as the course is concerned, I came up with no quotes. So I'll let you all help me with that. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to find the article. I'm going to turn the screen, stop the screen share for now as I go find something else here and return to his article from the Guide for Spiritual Living this month. The Guide for Spiritual Living this month is the Science of Mind. Good to Great to Grand is the theme this month. And it's a Reader's Digest looking magazine. It contains both, it has 2 months worth. This month is May and June. Both are in the same magazine. That's something new they started just a few months ago. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, but it doesn't matter because the change has already been made. The article is titled, What Keeps Us from Ascending from Good to Great to Grand and Beyond? And we talked about the different things that he talked about. Fear. Dennis Merritt Jones was talking about fear, and he asked the question, has fear gotten a bad rap? And it's an interesting point because, as Dove always reminds us, and I keep mentioning this, Dove always reminds us to look at our triggers. Look at what we is triggering us, or what we believe is triggering us, what we think is triggering us. It's really all about our thoughts. Look at what we think is triggering us and realize that these triggers are really things that we are afraid of. The question always comes back to, what are we afraid of? So the fact that we have this fear, and the course even says, everybody experiences fear. We all do. We all do. And the course isn't asking us uh uh to not admit to or to try to hide from the fear. It's asking us to look at it and not keep it. We're not asked to not recognize that we have it. We're asked to recognize it so that we can deal with it and let it go, because it's getting in the way. It keeps blocking us, and it blocks us, and it blocks us from expressing ourselves the way we really want to, in peace and joy and love. We'd like to be in kumbaya mode. We would like to be there all the time. But the truth is that we're part of this world. We're part of this physical experience. And because we have these experiences, we tend to ebb and flow with them. Something is going great and we're yay, yay, yay. And something isn't going the way we want it to, because it's always going great. It's not going the way we want it to. We're like, oh, poo on that. God is punishing me. And that nonsense. And and because we're busy looking at things, people, places, and things, we're looking at experiences. We are not judging rightly, as it says in the Bible. It says, judge not by appearances. Don't judge by appearances. It says, make a right judgment. And in this case, judgment being a positive thing, that we are looking at things what we call right-mindedly in the course. Judging rightly is seeing through our right minds. That's what we're talking about here. So the question came up, has fear gotten a bad rap? And I'm not going through this again because I said this is a recap, right? I read I read the whole first part. If you want to know more about it, then you just have to go find Monday's presentation. Uh, Talked about the 3 touchstones of fear. The first being we can run, but we cannot hide because it's not out there somewhere. It's not out there somewhere. We can run, but we can't hide from fear because it's not out there somewhere. We're not afraid of that thing out there, that person out there, that situation out there, that anything out there, that condition out there. The fear is always coming from within. And workbook lesson 48 reminds us that there is nothing to fear because what we're actually fearing are our thoughts, which explains we can run, but we cannot hide from fear because it's not out there somewhere. And the takeaway from that is to understand that we can run but can't hide. A more logical thing to do is to turn and face our fear while listening to its message. Again, what are those triggers? Those triggers are our teachers. What are they telling us? That there's an area that we don't feel that we're not healed. There's an area, something that we need to work on. That there's something there that where we feel that something is missing, that we are lacking, that something is wrong, that God's making a mistake, that we're not enough. So it's important to listen to the message that comes with these triggers. They actually serve a purpose. These are our fears. The second touchstone here is that every fear originates from within when a concern of death or loss triggers our emotions. And this part of the article talked about the fact that we're not talking about necessarily physical death, but it's possible. But the death of a situation, a relationship, a job, anything. A car got totaled. Anything. It could be any type of relationship, friendships, relationships with pets, anything. That type of death or feeling of loss that something is missing. People always say, "I'm sorry for your loss." I don't like that. I mean, I get it all the time. So and sometimes I do the pushback and say I haven't lost anything, just gone from my sight. That's all. I haven't lost anything. It was mine for as long as it was supposed to. The course that just brings me. The course says that nothing survives its purpose. Nothing survives its purpose. Have we really lost anything, or has it just served its purpose and now gone away? That for me is a better way of a calmer way, a more peaceful way of looking at it. The aim of the course is peace, peace, peace. And in order for me to do that, then I have to decide that I'm going to think in a way that brings peace to me. But in this case, every fear originates, let's touch on two. Every fear originates from within when a concern of death or loss triggers our emotions. And the takeaway from that, oh my, I'm having a time here. I need my clicker. I'm not doing this with the clicker, so things are moving faster than they're supposed to. The second takeaway is if we know and believe we are one with infinite intelligence, if we know and believe that our worth is established by God, if we know and believe that God is always with us, that we cannot never be separate and apart from God, if we know and believe that we are one with infinite intelligence, the source of life, and the supply of whatever adds purpose and meaning to our lives, there can be nothing to lose and nothing to fear ever. Simply stated. There can be nothing to lose or nothing to fear when we realize that we are everything and we have everything. That's how the course teaches it. We know that we are everything, and we have everything. Are you laying on my pocketbook? My doggy's laying on the pocketbook. He's using my pocketbook as a pillow. Um, he's just too cute. Anyhow, so the third, and I think this is where we left off. The third touchstone of fear is that to realize that fear is a messenger with many clever disguises and a teacher of the information we require to move forward, which is what I've been saying all along. It's a trigger. Watch the triggers. It's a trigger. Messenger, trigger, same concept. Different synonyms for the same word. Um, it's giving us ways to find out what's going on. What we have to do, though, is be careful about that. That word clever, those words, clever disguises. And we're going to read this. This is where we left off. Clever disguises, that seems insidious. We want to say, oh, I'm not afraid, I'm just feeling, and then one of those seven things. I've heard somebody say, a little anxious. The course teaches there are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my mind. Small upsets. There are things going on in the chat. Let me see what's happening here, because there was one number up there before, and now there's two different numbers have come up. Oh, all right. Let's see. Let's see. Exactly, Glorian. That there would be nothing that we wouldn't even be here if there was nothing to learn or go deeper with. That's exactly right. In fact, the course. Let me grab that book. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. Um, in number 25 of the manual for teachers, I brought this up before. I don't know if I brought it up on Monday or I shared it with someone else in another study group. But in number 25 of the manual for teachers, the last paragraph says, did I say 25? That's not true. 26. Number 26 of the manual for teachers, can God be reached directly? The last paragraph reads, oh, and 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 Glorian continues that there is no loss, there is only God's love. God, and love never ends. Absolutely. And I'm so glad to know that. I'm so glad to be reminded that love never ends. I say it all the time, and I'm in a time and space right now where I have to remember that, because there's laughter and joy that I've been accustomed to experiencing face to face and with phone calls. I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, that are that I'm being told will soon be no longer. But in the meantime, there's today. There's only this moment, and there's now. But in Manual for Teachers, number 26, it states, do not despair because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. And those limitations include fear. Fear is what makes us feel that we're limited in the first place. So do not despair because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. And as Glorian just said, we wouldn't be here if there was nothing to learn or go deeper with. These so-called limitations, do not despair. Because what could you not accept if you didn't know that everything is gently planned by one whose purpose is our good? We're choosing not to see it that way. How many opportunities have we had to gladden ourselves and we refuse? Over and over and over again. I love how, as I'm saying these, throwing these passages from the course together, it's like I'm saying it in ways I may not have said it before, that I haven't heard myself say it before, but it's absolutely true. We're being reminded over and over and over again. I cannot be alone. There is no death. I can't lose anything. I have what I have as long as I'm talking about the tangible. I have what I have as long as I'm supposed to have it. And when I'm not supposed to have it anymore, then it goes away. My house got robbed 2 weeks in a row. Some of you remember that. House got robbed 2 weeks in a row because I had gotten the locks changed after the first time. Well, here they had unlocked the window. I didn't know it. Um, 2 weeks in a row, and some of my prized possessions were gone. $1,000 in cash gone. Just different a camera gone. Things just they come and they go. They come and they go. A DVD player. I'm remembering some things now. Gone. And I was more concerned the first time with the first DVD. The DVD that they took was a computer DVD, and it had the disc one of a Photoshop program that I had that I can't that's it's something that I can't purchase anymore. I can't get that back. I can't get a copy of it. It's gone. And I mean, I'm telling you, I lamented that thing. I wailed about that doggone Photoshop, and then of course I had to get mad at myself. Why did I leave it in there in the first place? Why didn't I put it back where it belonged? Why this? Why that? Why the other? Which is the same as saying I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done the other. This is the stuff, the nonsense we take ourselves through. The nonsense. Do not despair because of limitations. It is your function to escape them, but not to be without them. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. How can I be of, how can I be of any assistance in any way to you? If just to listen. If I have not been in a position to do that in the miracle principles, it says that it is the privilege of the forgiven to forgive. It's the privilege of those who have listened, of those who have listened. What I'm saying here, it is my privilege to listen because I have been listened to. It is my privilege to share because I have been shared with, and not so much because I'm saying that in the sense that we learn from each other. We have each other to learn from. And sometimes it happens because of that. I was my mother's only child, and Lord knows it took me a long time to offer. I never had a problem with somebody asked, but it took me a long time to learn to offer. Yeah, Michaela, Mickey, come on, bring it.
Oh, oh, yeah. I didn't know that about you getting broken in twice. So that was the first time I heard that, and I just wanted to say that I was at a retreat with Tara Singh back in the 1980s, and they asked me to work the book table, and I did. And then one of the people working the book table told me that some of the books there at the retreat had gotten stolen. So it's interesting that scarcity principle and you getting broken in. That, I mean, you can be at a retreat where we're talking about trying to quiet the mind and then things get stolen. Somebody there too has scarcity principle. So it's interesting, very interesting. Thank you for bringing that up, Zuma.
Thank you. We all have it. The course teaches everyone experiences fear. And when there is fear, it is because we think that something is missing. And it could be a simple example. Simple, but I'm walking down the street, let's say it's dark or not. And somebody is approaching, and as someone, okay, if we go with what we see in the news, it's a dark-skinned black man. um, that's what we're taught in the news anyway. We're taught to fear dark-skinned black men. But I'm walking down the street, and a person, anyone is walking. They're walking in my direction, and they put their hand in their pocket, and then they take their hand out of their pocket, and from a distance, I see something black in their hands, and it looks like it's being pointed in my direction. Let's assume for a moment that it is a weapon of of physical destruction. Let's presume that it is. Let's suppose for a moment that it is a gun. And I go into fear because I fear that I'm going to lose my life. And I put my life in quotation marks. I can't lose my life, but I am fearing that I am going to be in lack of my life. Every single fear is attached to a sense of lack. Everyone, every single one. I'm missing something, or I'm going to be missing something, or I missed something. Oh, so and so came on. I wanted to be there to hear that. I missed it. I lost it. I don't get. I've lost what I was supposed to get. What I think I'm supposed to get. That's Wish World. And I was supposed to get that. In every case where there's fear, and this is all just coming to me. It's always a feeling of lack of something, either that I'm going to miss something, I'm missing something, or I missed something. In every case, when I get angry with you, it's because I feel that I have lost, you have lost respect for me, that I have lost my sense of worth. Always. And Glorian writes that these are major. Oh, we're talking about. I guess it's talking about my material possessions. Those major lessons in valuing the valueless. The only thing of value. Yes, thank you, Glorian. The only thing of value is our relationship with the Holy Spirit, the Christ consciousness. We all meet these lessons in some way, and we always do in every moment in some way. In every moment is to remember, and that's not to say that we're not going to experience these things, because as the Course says, it is your function to escape from limitations, but not to be without them. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. If you would be a savior, you must understand what needs to be escaped. I had to have experienced this thing for me to be a religious science practitioner today, for me to be a miracle worker, for me to be a friend, for me, for me to be a sister. I'm talking about in a physical, material way. For me to be a family member to blood relatives and to my selected family. For me to be any of that. It has to be an experience. There has to be some kind of an experience. If you would be a savior, you must understand what needs to be escaped. And it goes on from there. The bottom line is, these things we're going to have these experiences. In the Bible is written, in this world, you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. In other words, continue to give thanks. Be grateful. For I, the voice of the Bible, has overcome the world, the voice of that passage. It's written that it's the voice of that passage. It's written that Jesus said that I have overcome the world. So, and if it's so that, and if that's so, then we too can, because it's also written that we would do greater things than Jesus. All right, then. Thank you very much. That's a good starting point to remember that these things can happen. Anyway, I'm going back to the article, realize that fear is a messenger with many clever disguises and a teacher of the information we require to move forward. In the 12-step program, they talk about the whatever the addiction is, the addiction is insidious, that it's cunning, that it's baffling. Yeah, well, that applies to this too. Addiction is just another one of those things where we think that we're missing something and we're seeking outside ourselves for what's already on the inside. Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote that what we're looking for is what we're looking with. What I'm looking for is what I'm looking with. It's already here. I already am everything and have everything. And I'm looking outside, as the Course says, for something that's more than anything, more than everything. The Course talks about that, looking for more than everything. Okay, so let's see what's going on here with Dennis Merritt Jones. And he writes, with mindfulness, we can find the resolution to meet and transcend fear by embracing the messenger with courage and faith. But first, we must be able to identify the messenger. For example, we call out and have conversations with the 7 primary messengers of fear, anger, worry, judgment, selfishness, shame, loneliness, and uncertainty. Although many other fears can act as messengers, these 7 are the primary teachers we must first accept and engage with. As a mindfulness practice, and this is talking about mind training. We're talking about mind training. This is all about mind training and to choose not to study to if we have no decide we don't have any order to an untrained mind. I couldn't think of the word untrained. I'm having a problem. An untrained mind accomplishes nothing. These are courses in mind training. That's all we're talking about, is paying attention, being mindful, not going into sleep of forgetfulness, guarding our thoughts, not letting the mind wander continually, letting the mind wander, because it's going to do that. I couldn't think of the word untrained. Obviously, the mind was wandering in that moment. I had all kind of things going on, but to bring it back, reel it back in, to recognize, okay, God, I'm right here. I'm right here. I know you're right here. I know you're here. I'm here. Here I am. We're here. It's all one. It's all one. It's all one. With mindfulness, we can find the resolution to meet and transcend fear by embracing the messenger with courage and faith. But first, we must be able to identify the messenger. For example, okay, I just read all that. Although many other fears can act as messengers, these 7 are the primary teachers we must first accept and engage with. As a mindfulness practice, we can visualize our various fears as dance partners. As we pull our partner close, and we do, whether we want to or not, as we pull our partner close, we can whisper in its ear, "Oh, master teacher of the moment, please tell me what I need to know about you so I may then transcend you." I like that. I like that. Because we know that the master teacher is that which created us. We call it Holy Spirit. That which created us. We call it God. That's what created us. Some call it Jesus. Whatever. Is that master teacher, Jesus, is the capital T, capital H, capital E, master teachers. But as the Course reminds us, we keep blocking stuff. And since we're blocking stuff, we forget that that's the master teacher. But in that moment, that fear, whatever it is, anger, shame, whatever these anger, worry, judgment, selfishness, shame, loneliness, and uncertainty, they become the master teacher of the moment. Please tell me what I need to know about you so I may then transcend you. Let me know what I need to know so I can get rid of you, so I can let it go. When things are just too much and I'm holding on so tight, I want to just relax, give up without a fight. I long to feel that sweet release. I turn within and pray, stop, take a breath, relax, surrender, and just say, let it go. It's Karen Drucker's song, Let It Go. Listening with a courageous heart and an open mind, Dennis Merritt Jones continues, listening with a courageous heart and an open mind positions us to receive the guidance we seek. And he says then, in takeaway number 3, our fears will come knocking on our door until the day we leave the planet. What did the Course say? Do not despair because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. What's it say and what's written in the Bible? In this world, you will have limitations. You will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. Our fears will come knocking on our door until the day we leave the planet. Learning to identify and listen to them doesn't mean we have to become bosom buddies with them. I've come to that conclusion about a couple of people I know. I do listen though. I make myself available to listen because I realize they need someone to listen. And that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. That I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to be truly helpful. I don't ignore the phone calls when it comes. I don't. I'm here to be truly helpful. Who knows? It might be an emergency. That's not why I don't think, oh, that might be an emergency. I just think obviously they need me in the moment. And depending on how that goes, determines how long I stay on the phone. You know, that kind of thing. But anyway, um, listen, but don't doesn't mean I have to become bosom buddies with them. We're talking about these fears. It means we welcome, value, and embrace their guidance, and then lovingly send them on their way. Thank you for, as I was walking down the street and at first I thought to myself, no, 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 it can't be. And then I realized it was, and I just walked slowly across the street because it turns out that the person that had the gun in their hand, it wasn't me that they were planning to shoot anyway. So I got out of the way. Just these things become an initial thought is I see this gun coming. It must be, they must gonna shoot. I don't even know who they are. They're gonna shoot me. But to look at it and look at it and take time to step away from the the angst that's with it. So I can see it truly for what it really is. It's a thought with me. Embrace it, embrace its guidance, and then lovingly send it on its way. Perhaps more importantly, it means we've mastered our ability to learn the dance. This means we use fear productively rather than being pushed around by it. So this comes from, oh, and he continues, the journey begins now. Our personal evolution is a given when we trust and know we are one with an intelligent, living universe expanding at the speed of light. Which my God here, it doesn't stop. It's written that everything was created in 7 days, but creation still it keeps a new tree. All right, so we talk about that as tangible. I get that, but the whole experience of creation. Creation is always, in my opinion, it's always occurring. Creation is there's creating and then there's making, but creation is always occurring. So someone was telling me that there are these trees or that grow up, or weeds that grow, certain plants that grow as a result, and they're called invasives because they're choking, other plants and stuff. I'm talking about in the park, in the state park that I attend, where, by the way, a tree was planted for my mommy on May 4th, which was the day of her transition in 2012. But a tree was planted for my mommy. It's a tulip poplar, and it's in Fort Washington State Park where I like to go walking, and I'm really excited about that. Anyway, so I'm told that there are these invasives. So I started asking, because we're talking about, I'm saying that things are the way, that God intends. He says, I said, well, how do these invasives get there? Did man come along and just plant it? Well, no. You see, you got the birds, which are also the part of the creation. The birds will go to the so-called invasive plants and will eat from there. And then they fly. And they release it. They release it through the natural process of elimination. And wherever it lands, there goes into the soil and new sprouts come up. And they call them invasives. So you're saying the birds aren't doing what they're supposed to do? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that these plants that were over there weren't supposed to be in the first place? Is that what we're saying? The whole process of creation, things are constantly evoluting, as the new word now. It's evoluting. It's the evolution. Things are continually evolving. but things cannot evolve unless it involves itself. So it evolutes through involutes. The evolution occurs through involution. Expanding at the speed of light. Our personal evolution is a given when we trust and know we are one with an intelligent living universe expanding at the speed of light. When we attentively listen to our fears, they equip us with the information we need to overcome them. And are we not asked to ask the Holy Spirit? Ask the Holy Spirit, oh, Spirit, I'm having a time here. I am so afraid of this. And once I, go to ask to be shown the reason, because it's not asking to take the fear away. The fear it's back to that about, the world and, cause and effect. I am the cause of this fear. The effect of my fear is whatever it is that I'm afraid of, but I'm the cause. So I cannot ask Holy Spirit to get rid of the cause. That's asking to get rid of me. No. But to show me, to help me see the reason, what thought I was thinking for this to happen, so that I can then make another choice. I can choose to think another thought. It's then that ascending from, I'm reading back Dennis Merritt Jones, it's then that ascending from good to great to grand to beyond the beyond becomes, as Dr. Ernest Holmes infers, the greatest adventure of our lives. This makes us masters of our own destiny as life unfolds in us, through us, and most importantly, as us. We're talking about God unfolding in us, through us, and as us. We are what God is, or so it's written. We are created in the image and the likeness. We are created like God. And earlier I heard this in the teaching before me. I heard it said that Ken Wapnick said, I think, Sharon, if you're still there, I may need you to clarify, make sure I heard this properly. I heard you say that, I believe it was Sharon, I heard say that Ken Wapnick said that we are not God. I am inclined to say I am not the macro of God, but in the micro, yes, I am. I am the drop of water in the ocean, and I'm the whole ocean, because everything the ocean can do, I am. I am created in the image of it. I am created like it. Therefore, if it's one, then I can't separate from it. It's written that we live, move, and have our being in it. It moves, it is what we are. So for the way I see it, yeah, I am. But no, am I walking around saying I'm God? I don't say it unless I say that you're God too. You know, I'm all that, and so are you. I wrote I gave a talk back in September of 21, I believe, and it's on Zoom rather not on Zoom. It's on Facebook for those, it might be on Zoom. Anyway, it's on Facebook for anybody who has it. And I gave a talk called Love is Here and Tag You're It. And it was based on exactly that. I am what God is. I am what love is. I am that. I want to go back into the chat to see what's happening here. And Glorian wrote way back at 10 after 10. Where are we now? 10:21. 10 after 10, that the master teacher is anyone who has aligned their mind with the Christ mind. That's the master teacher with capital T, capital H, capital E. Because what this, and yes, Glorian, I agree with that. Because what this article is saying, that in that moment, in the moment that I'm in fear, I think that the master teacher is the fear. I think that it's not true. The good thing about that is that it comes and it goes. 727 times in the Bible. It comes to pass. It comes to pass. What is eternal and always, always there is that Christ consciousness. That's always there. That is permanent. That cannot be changed. That is indestructible. That is the only thing that's real. And Lynn was talking about the plants. Says it's not she says it sounds natural, not invasive. And Lynn continues, and that's why she has 2 mulberry trees in her yard. She gets lots of mulberries, not natives, and where's that? Not natives. I'm having a hard time. My finger won't do it. My cursor's not doing it. I lost it. Going back. 2 mulberry trees in her yard. We're talking about Lynn here. Said we get lots of mulberries, not native to this area at all. There you go. And Lori writes, yeah, Sharon and Dove said that Ken said we should not say we're God, but sons of God. All right, and that's what Ken says. All right. And Glorian writes, the ego is not God. Our reality, thank you, is love, God, and oneness. Thank you. I like that. And Lori continues, but if the Christ is the same as God, we're God. There we go. There we go. I'm with you. But if the Christ is the same as God, we're God. Certainly not the ego as, oh, wait a minute. No, we are not the ego, but sometimes we think we are. This is not going to turn into a um and what Glorian wrote is that the ego is not God. That's what Glorian wrote, that the ego is not God. God is our reality. God is the love. God is the oneness. That's our reality is love. Our reality is God. Our reality is oneness. That is not the ego. The ego is not God. That's what Glorian wrote. I am as God created me. Yes. Spirit is in a state of grace forever. Yes. The ego certainly is not God. The ego is trying to usurp God's power. The belief that I am separate, the belief that I'm not this, I'm not good enough, that you're not, that you think you're better than me, the belief that I can't, the belief that I'm limited, the belief that I'm wrong, the belief that I should feel guilty, the belief that I should be ashamed, the belief that I should blame you, blame myself, blame somebody else, blame something. That is not God in any sense of the word. Unfortunately, all that is temporary. So I think I think there's a misunderstanding there. Glorian did not say that the ego, that God is the ego. She wrote that God is not the ego. That's what I read. Glorian, your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're all actually saying the same thing here, where they said about Ken saying that above. He's just saying that to walk around saying I am God, because the ego is not God, that we're sons of God, which is the extension of his love. And I think Lori was saying the same thing, because she's saying, but if the Christ is the same as God, we're God. Certainly not the ego. We're not the ego. As I write, she was agreeing with that. It was just the way she said it, I believe. And then, yeah, so I really think we're all saying the same thing here, is that we don't want to go around saying, the unprepared thought that I am God, because they're seeing you as a body. But we want to always represent the Christ, which is what we truly are, which is, as God created us, in a state of grace forever. So that is what we are in reality. But, seemingly walking around here in misperception, we're not demonstrating that. So I think that, I don't know, I didn't read where Ken said it, but listening to that this morning, I believe that that's what he was saying, that we shouldn't walk around in the, attempting for people to think that the ego is, but we're sons of God as we're the extensions of his love. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, and now I understand what Lori meant. It's the way I read it. Okay, that is certainly not the ego, which is what Glorian said. That's I get it. I get it. Yeah, I misunderstood based on the way I was reading it. And exactly, we are as God created us. and we are in a state of grace forever. And that's unchanging. I am spirit. It's written in the Bible that God is spirit. So there we go. God is spirit. I am spirit. What is that saying? But no, am I going to walk around saying I am God? No. Well, I think I'm all that in that regard? No. Does it mean that I ought not be confident, that I ought not be uh 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 willing to let my light shine, to recognize that I have light, recognize that I am the light, to recognize all that? No, that's not cocky. That's not being cocky. Because if I'm cocky, then Jesus was cocky. I mean, let's talk about let's talk here, and if Jesus is the master teacher, then and we are to the best of our ability demonstrate in the same way. That's not being cocky, it's being confident. Where did I just hear that? Cocky or confident? Oh, Sunday's message. It was Sunday's message from Reverend Swana. I don't know if you were there, Regis, but hey, bro, go ahead. Unmute, loved one. You are muted. You are okay. Nope, you muted yourself again.
There we
There we
go.
go.
You can hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, this thing sometimes does what it wants to do, and I'm okay with that. Uh, I got a timer going off, so I'll be right back.
All right. So while we wait for Regis to come back, um, just concluding with this makes us that when we look at the fear, when we look at it, we will be able to recognize and realize that it is indeed something that we're making up. We are using our creative abilities to miscreate. All right, Regis is back. Go ahead, Regis.
All right, there we go. Yeah, so just before we got too far down the road, as we was talking about the I am God, but as my wife and I were talking yesterday evening, and we've talked about this more than once. When you talk about self-image uh, and walking in the truth of who you are, and I've told her many times, I don't care. I'm a black man either, though. You know, is it? It's, I don't care. And what we talk about is many African Americans carry the weight of being dark skinned. Many now we call people of color. So now everybody is trying to get under the burden, like it's a burden. I'm carrying the burden of being a person of color. I'm discriminated against. People don't treat me. They don't give me jobs like they give other people. They expect us to behave a certain way. And I don't carry the weight of that. I say if a person look at me and decide they're afraid of me or have some judgment of me because I'm a dark skin and I'm acting a certain way or I'm speaking a certain way, that don't take my voice. I'm still gonna say what I want to say. I'm still gonna present the way I want to present. And if they have a judgment or a prejudice or a bias, that's their problem. That is their problem. That is not my problem. And I didn't create the problem. As you've been saying all morning, the thoughts in your head is creating the fear. God can't save you from fear because he would have to destroy you because you're creating the fear. God can't take away your fear because that would be taking you away. All right. So those things. So likewise, I do say I am God. And if that make you squirm, that's your problem. And that's your problem. That's your problem if it makes you squirm to hear me say I am God. That's not my problem. And so I understand sort of and partially agree with Kenneth Wapnick, but I don't fully agree with that because I'm not going to deny who I am. I'm not going to, if yes, I'm going to use wisdom. If for me to declare who I am is going to cause you to jump off a mountain, I probably won't say it, you know, but I'm not, I'm not taking on false identity for the sake of not offending the world, in any shape, form, or fashion. So the reality, if I can recognize the reality of who I am, even though the doctor says I have cancer, I am well. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich. And I'm not, and Marianne Williamson talks about it. I'm not playing it small because people hadn't addressed their issues. Because if my presence is a trigger for you, then it's your job to find out why. And if I try to cover up myself, then I'm not serving you, because now I'm trying to adjust so that you won't recognize your trigger. Well, how is that helping you? If my presence is a trigger for you, find out why that's a trigger. Don't tell me to cover up my light. The Bible says, let your light shine that men may see your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven, which basically means let your light shine. Don't put your light under a bushel, so that people will recognize they love me too. Everybody love Regis. Everybody love me too. Like you said, that's not arrogance. That's not but there is, and I don't have to pause and tell you everybody love you too. Because y'all know I rarely do that. But in me stating that, you still recognize everybody love me too. Your presence will do what it's supposed to do. Your light will do what it's supposed to do without your help. And the judging ego will be there sitting on your shoulder saying, see, you're going to make them feel bad, or you're going to make them feel like it's just you. It's just for you. I'm not making you do anything. Your thoughts are your choice. Your perceptions are your responsibility, not mine. And we have to be the light that we are. We have to be in this world as authentic as we can possibly be. No man takes a light and put it under a bushel. And in this day and term, you don't turn on the light on your phone, your camera phone, and then cover it up with a face cloth. you know, why? Why would you do that? You're trying to shine light, so you're trying to see. And that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Regis. Thank you. And Cora Yang, I want to welcome you. I didn't. I had to with the I had the screen up. I can only see so many boxes, and I see your name there. Welcome. I saw you earlier, and welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, Glorian, come on.
Yeah, I wanted to say I agree with everything that Regis said, and I'm really happy about that since I'm walking around half the time here saying I'm the Christ, so ultimately that in infinite way, that is the way we speak about the kingdom of God being the Christ consciousness, and that is what I am. And we talk a lot about that I am presence. And I think that perhaps, what Ken was suggesting, because I think from listening to everyone, he talks about acting normal and what have you. So, but ultimately it comes down to the guidance. And what Joel would talk about is like that world discernment. So if we're asking spirit, what should I say? Where should I go? And to whom? So if we walk into a room and we're filled with fundamentalist Christians who are going to be fearful by us saying something like that, perhaps my guidance would be not to do so. But of course, here with all of you all the time, that's what I'm saying, because that's the way we get out of this, by accepting our identity is giving glory to God. It's what I am. And then, as Regis was saying, we don't hide our light under a bushel. We're here to be extensions of that love, living demonstrations of the love of God. And we can't be that if we have not accepted it. So thanks, Regis.
And thank you, Gloria. Yes, yes, yes. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yes, yes. Let the light shine. Call it what it is. I always reference when I'm talking to fundamental Christians. I have a client who is indeed a fundamental Christian. And I just remember, you were created in the likeness, you were created in the likeness of God. That means that you are like God. You were created in the image of God all the time. And she's starting to get it. It's taken a while, but she's starting to get it. She's not, okay, doesn't matter. But she's starting to get it. I keep bringing back, girl, you are in God. Girl, you live in God. What does God mean to you? Come on, girl. What is it? You live in it. Come on, bask. You live in it. You move in it. You have your being. You are it. What's that mean? Bask. It's phenomenal. It's happening. Just watching the transformation. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Anyway, so I wanted to start looking at some of these 7 things that he talked about. And Glorian writes the image of, wait a minute, I lost it. Let's see. I'm good. God is me. Yes, Carrie. God is you. God in you. God be you. The name of, I am one with. I am one with. I am one with. Where's two-ness? Where is there God in something else? Where's it? Regis, what was that little black thing? What was that just went up? What'd you do? Let me see what you did. So do it again. Because I wasn't looking. Do that again. Oh, all right.
What is
Oh,
that? It's so cute.
I think it's stars. Was it
That's
stars?
that's the graduation cap.
Oh,
That's
oh,
like the cap with
for
the
the young
tassel
lady.
on it.
For the young lady. All right. Now yes. Oh gosh. This man is having too much fun with these doggone things. I'm gonna have to start playing too. And you're gonna have to tell me well, not now. Anyway, yeah, but you're gonna talk, we're gonna have to talk, Regis, because I want to get a second screen. So I really want to talk, need to talk to you about that. Anyhow, so why be normal? Of course. And I am God my way. I am a unique expression of God. We are all unique expressions of God. How can I say God as me if I'm not saying that I am God? If as me, one of the articles in this magazine talks about the 4 kingdoms. The first one being the victim kingdom, to me. Everything is happening to me, to me, to me. And then it's by me. And then it's through me. And ultimately as me. And as we come to that through me and as me place, we realize that nothing happens without nothing. What's it say in workbook lesson, in chapter 21, in section 2, in the responsibility for sight? It says, everything that seems to happen, I'm asking for it. And the word is seems to happen. It's not that thing that's happening, it's how I'm perceiving it to happen, how I see it. That's the issue. Everything that seems to happen, I ask for it. If something out there is going on, I say, well, that's good. And somebody else says, that's bad. To each, that's what it is. Harry, I don't know what quite the J means. You think you're still here? Are you still here? Yes. Would you retype that so I can know what that means? And Glorian writes that the image of God is not a body. That's exactly right. It can't be a body. It can't be. The image is, what's the example that Dennis Merritt Jones used? Looking in the mirror. I want to I want to change the way I look in the mirror. I can't do it by breaking the mirror. I mean, it may look different to me, but that's the image. That's not what I am. The image of God is not a body. It is the eternal life that I am, the eternal life, the spirit that I am, that which breathes me, that which moves me, that the I am. And it's not a body. I can close my eyes and I can close my eyes and I can see. I like that. Today I can close my eyes and I can see. I see Regis 2 times. Oh my God, I got 2 brothers. That's all, and different. 2 different backgrounds. Let's see, I gotta find out where that is. That could be, it's not Philly. It's not Philly. Got cactus involved. So anyway, all right. All right, so let's look at some of these fears, these different ways that fears manifest from a course perspective. And this one I brought up the other day. Anger without projection is impossible. I can't be angry with you. First of all, the sentence started with I. I can't be angry because you did something. I'm angry because I think that you should have done it a different way. Simple. Simple. I'm shooting on everything. Projection means anger. Anger fosters assault. Even if it's just in my mind, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to, jump up and punch you. But in my mind, I'm calling you this and I'm talking about you that and you're this. And I'm trying to kill you in my mind. I'm just going to get rid of you. And assault promotes fear. And then once I've done all that, now I have to feel guilty. And it's all happening so quickly that I'm not even realizing that all these things are happening. Then I can understand why I feel bad, especially if you came back and said, you know what I said exactly what I meant. Earlier, I was reading what Lori wrote and I misread it. It sounded to me when I read it initially that she was contradicting or debating, if you will, what Gloria said. That was just me. And once I read it again, I realized that she was saying, oh yeah, as Gloria said, and she was agreeing with it. But that was just the way I saw it. But when we don't do that, when we think that we're right, that's automatically going to be a problem. I'm right, that's that. Because see, the right and wrong certificate came with my birth certificate. Did you not know that? I get to decide what's right and what's wrong. Anybody want to see the baby? What you doing? Yep, he laid back down again. He's hey. Okay. I gotta be careful. I got a skirt on and kind of anyway, y'all need to go, don't see all that. So anyway, the relationship of anger to fear is not always so apparent. Anger always involves projection of separation. I'm thinking this way, you're thinking that way. I'm thinking rightly, you're thinking wrongly. I know and you don't. Which must ultimately be accepted. That's projection of separation, which ultimately be accepted as one's own responsibility rather than being blamed on others. So I don't like what you did, and I want to blame you for the separation. No, I don't like. I have to start with the I. That's always have to start with the I. I am angry. I am upset. I am judging. I am thinking that what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. I am projecting my thoughts onto you. The relationship of anger to fear is not always so apparent. Anger always involves projection of separation, which must ultimately be accepted as one's own responsibility rather than being blamed on others. Anger cannot occur unless you believe that you have been attacked, that your attack is justified in return, and that you are in no way responsible for it. I believe it's workbook lesson 71. In workbook lesson 71, which is only God's plan for salvation will work. Paragraph 2 says the ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration and an assertion in which you believe, that says, if this were different, I would be saved. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. Not my fault. It's not my fault that I feel this way. It's your fault. I'm blaming you for what I feel. And here's back to my example. You ate that liver. I told you I didn't like liver. You ate that liver and I got sick. Oh my. But you know what? If I am so hell-bent on believing that it's your fault, that what happens to me is your fault, you might eat liver and I might just get sick because I could very well make myself sick. I making myself sick and blaming you for it. See, if you hadn't eaten that liver, that would have never happened. All right. Let's go to the current slide. Here we go. Fear is worry. When the word worry, to my surprise, only appears 15 times throughout the course. So we have a couple quotes and only a couple, I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I don't have to worry. I meant to look up the definition of worry from the dictionary, and I am going to do that. Or at least look at some of the synonyms for the word worry in Word. Let's see. Let's find some of the synonyms for worry. I know you can't see the screen, and I don't mean for you to see the screen right now. I'm typing in the word worry in a Word document, and then I'm looking at WORRY, and then not typing well at all. I can't type today. WORRY space. I'll right click it. Synonyms: concern, anxiety, fear, there it is, and unease. I don't have to be anxious. In the Bible is written, be anxious for nothing. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, bring your requests. Let the Holy Spirit know. Talk to God, and the peace will come through. It will come, because in that moment you are changing your mind. But to worry is to be overly concerned, to be anxious about it, to be fearful about it, to be in unease about it, to be in unease. We don't have to do that. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Be anxious for nothing. What worry can beset the one, from the course again from workbook lesson 194? What worry can beset the one who gives his future to the loving hands of God? I don't have to worry. What could I not accept? What do I have to worry about if I know that everything is already planned? First of all, I can't do anything about the worry. Whatever it is that I'm worried about isn't going to go away because I'm worried. It doesn't change because I'm worried. Oh, Sharon, I see you moving about. I don't know where you are, but you're moving about. I see your feet, Sharon. Oh, now I see your face, Sharon. Okay, thank
I
you.
am walking around and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize I was still on the camera.
I just happened to look to the left, and there you. I mean, look to my right, and there were your legs moving about. Oh, and Lynn put in the chat that the word worry in the Old English, it means to strangle, to wrangle or strangle. How about that? Of West German origin in middle. Oh, see, this is why I love this woman. Look, she's talking it to us. Thank you, Lynn. Giving it all to us. The Old English strangle to it's of West German origin. In Middle English, the original sense of the verb gave rise to the meaning seize by the throat and tear. Picture that. Oh, oh gosh. Wow. Seize by the throat and tear. Worry. Worry will kill you if you let it. And later, figuratively, to harass, whence cause anxiety to cause anxiety to. Yes. And we're doing it to ourselves. I am seizing myself by the throat. I'm seizing myself. I am harassing myself. I am making myself anxious, and I'm blaming you. Wow. And Glorian writes that worrying is a form of control, wanting it our way. Yes, it is a placing our judgment, our interference on what is. Exactly. I'm not accepting things exactly as they are. The workbook lesson, let all things be exactly as they are. Let me accept, the serenity prayer says, let me accept what I can't change. Because I can't change it. It is what it is. It is what it is. But no. I want to try to change things. I can't change anything. I can't. All right. Fear is judgment. The course. Do you recognize the fear that arises from the meaningless attempts to judge what lies so far beyond your judgment you cannot even see it? Let's read that again. Do you recognize the fear? Here it is in the same sentence, fear and judgment. Do you recognize the fear that arises from the meaningless attempt to judge? Let me stop right there. Meaningless attempt to judge. I'm looking at something and I'm putting my spin on it. Person walking down the street reaches into their pocket, and that's the end of that. Let's say it stops right there. And I automatically start interpreting why they're reaching into their pocket. The fear that rises from the meaningless attempt to judge what lies so far beyond your judgment, you can't even see it. I can't see it. Self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment. Fear is judgment. Fear is judgment. Fear is a judgment never justified. Its presence has no meaning but to show you wrote a fearful script. I wrote a fearful script and are afraid accordingly, but not because the thing you fear has fearful meaning in itself. I have decided that thing is a thing to be feared. I am deciding, I am thinking, I am believing, back to thinking, I am thinking thus and such. And because of my thoughts come these fears, not the fears of, and I judge it. I'm judging it that it's this way or that, and I'm creating more and more of a story, and I'm becoming more and more afraid because of it. Fear as selfishness. And these quotes are often, of course, the Son of God invented an unholy relationship between him and his Father. The one he made, that's the unholy relationship that I made, is partial, self-centered, hear that, broken into fragments and full of fear. Self-centered, the relationship that I am making between myself and my creator, between myself and you, between myself and myself. It's partial because I'm thinking that I'm not this and I'm not that. I'm lacking. Self-centered, back to I am separate. It's me and God, and there's no such thing. Broken into fragments and therefore full of fear. Because if I think I'm all alone, then why would I not be afraid? I would have cause to be afraid if, in fact, in all this vastness, it's just me, just little me, all by myself. Selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness is of spirit, because that is how God created it. Selfishness is of the ego, and where the ego is, there's bound to be fear. The world I see, workbook lesson 56, attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. That self-image I have made leads me to be selfish. I did this, and this is what I am, and I'm not this, and everybody else is that. Everybody else, they think that I'm not. It's pure selfishness. Fear as loneliness. You cannot exempt yourself from God's laws, although you can disobey them. Yet if you do, and only if you do, you will feel lonely and you will feel helpless because you're denying yourself everything. I am denying that I am one with the one. And if that's the case, if I am denying my oneness with the one, then 1 minus 1 equals lonely. It equals 0. It equals lonely. You cannot exempt yourself from God's laws. You can't, because God's laws are the only law. Life's laws are the only laws. What else is there? What else is there? There's life and what? There's nothing else. The Course says God is life. You cannot exempt yourself from life's laws. You can try to disobey them. You can go mistreat yourself, quote, quote, mistreat yourself. I can go thinking that I'm not this, that I'm not equal to, that I'm not one with. I can do that. But if I do, and only if I do, I will feel lonely and helpless because I will be denying myself everything, everything, everything. And I think this is the last one that I have. Let me check. Yep. Fear as uncertainty. The Bible tells you to know yourself or to be certain, because certainty is always of God. That wishful thinking thing. Let me read this last quote. To know is to be certain. Uncertainty means that you do not know. Knowledge is power because it is certain, and certainty is strength. Perception is temporary. To be in wish world, well, I wish, I hope, oh, I wonder, oh, I don't know, maybe. Where's the faith in that? Where is the trust in that? How can I trust in maybe? How can I trust in something that ebbs and flows? That Thomas Troward wrote that principle is not bound by precedent. Principle, that which is firm, that which always is, that which is unchanging, that which is impenetrable, that the truth is not bound, period, by the past, not bound by the future, which is not here. It is not bound by anything ever. It is certain. It is as certain as it is of God. And with that certainty, I am going to give up the mic. Now, the last one was about shame, and maybe if somebody wants to talk about that another day, they can. There was nothing in the course to reference that. Because I wanted these last part to be about, come from the course, and that's not available to me. So therefore, I am going to leave it alone. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to give thanks to all of you who are here, and to all who are listening, and to all who may listen, for all who have participated. And thank you for that about worry, strangling. Love that, Lynn. Thank you very much. And with that, here's the mic.
All right. Thank you so much, Zulma Gonzalez. Wonderful session. And oh my gosh. Yeah, it's great. And we will talk about how we can switch back and forth between things on the share screen easier. I'm just learning myself. So,
Oh, please.
absolutely. All right, here we go.